It begins in a moment you can't name. You're 7 years old, watching a door close too quietly. Or maybe it slams. Either way, you feel the air shift, the tension coil, and something inside you makes a calculation you're too young to understand. If I stay small enough, maybe the storm won't find me. This is the birth of the invisible child. Not the one who hides in closets, but the one who hides in plain sight. They master the art of reading faces before they master reading books. They become emotional translators, mood predictors, crisis managers. And adults marvel at them. Such an old soul, they say, wise beyond their years. But wisdom and wounding often wear the same face. And no one thinks to ask the question that matters most. Who is taking care of you? This is the untold story of children who became caretakers, of the ones who learned to carry weight before they learned to carry themselves, of small hands that held together what should have never been theirs to fix. Today, we're examining the architecture of a childhood that ended too soon, and the adults still living inside its ruins. Alex, welcome. Today, we're going deep inside the psychology of a child who grew up too fast, the one who became a small adult, long before their mind was ready.
Small adult. That's me. It's strange to hear it said so clearly. I was always praised for it. My whole life, the narrative was, Alex is so mature. He's so responsible. He's so strong.
But no one ever stops to ask, at what cost?
No one. And you don't even know it's a cost. You think it's just you, your personality. I learned to read the room before I could even read books. It was a sixth sense.
You became the emotional thermostat of the household.
That's it exactly. I can trace it back. I must have been 7 years old. I remember staring into the eyes of a parent who was just falling apart. It wasn't always loud. Sometimes it was anger. But mostly it was just this hollow silence. The silence of someone too broken to even show up.
And in that moment, a child's mind does something extraordinary.
It clicks. I remember that feeling. It wasn't a thought, not really. It was a decision that made itself. This ancient, small voice in my mind just said, if I don't hold everything together, no one will.
And that right there, that is the moment a child disappears. Not physically, but psychologically.
I did. I disappeared. I smiled more. I cried less. I learned that my tears were a burden. They added to the chaos. So I just stopped. I became the good child.
What you're describing, this profound and often invisible process, psychologists call parentification. It's what happens when children are forced to emotionally support adults instead of the other way around.
Parentification?
Yes. It's when a child is forced to become the caregiver, the peacekeeper, the therapist, the protector. And this isn't just unhealthy. It rewires the brain.
How do you mean rewires?
Because when a child is consistently put in charge of emotional regulation, whether it's their own or their parents', it creates something called hypervigilance.
Hypervigilance.
You're always scanning for danger. You're not just entering a room, you're assessing it. You're tracking footsteps, the tone of voice, the way a door closes. You're constantly walking on eggshells.
Always. To this day. I can't turn it off. I walk into a meeting, a party, any room, and I'm not thinking about myself. I'm thinking about everyone else who's upset, who's quiet, who needs what. It's exhausting. I never realized that's what it was.
It's a survival map. And you learned very young that love is a transaction.
A transaction.
You give peace, and maybe they'll give you safety. You learned one of the most damaging lessons a child can learn. Your needs are dangerous, and theirs are urgent.
My needs are dangerous. That is hard. That's exactly it. My needs were the problem. My sadness was an inconvenience. My joy was too loud. So I disappeared emotionally, and in my place, this performer grew.
A version of you that performs well.
Extremely well. I became the quiet achiever. I got good grades. I didn't cause trouble. I became the therapist friend, the one who always listens, the one who never asks for anything.
And you wear that identity so convincingly that even you forget it's a mask.
For decades, I thought that was me. I thought I was just a low-maintenance person, a giver. But deep down, something hurts, something aches, especially when I'm alone.
Because the inner child you buried didn't die. They're still in there, and they are screaming silently. Why didn't anyone protect me?
And those effects, they don't just vanish with age, do they?
They shape you. They follow you. Into relationships, into careers, into your sense of worth. As you grow older, the symptoms just become more complex. That performer you built, it solidifies into what you, as an adult, might call hyper-independence.
Yes, that's the word I found for it. I am hyper-independent. And it sounds strong, doesn't it? People praise me for it, just like they praise me for being mature. But it's not strength, it's lonely.
Because you refuse help.
I cannot accept help. I don't know how. I refuse it. My partner will offer to make me dinner, and my first immediate instinct is anxiety. My brain instantly calculates the cost. What will I owe them for this kindness? What will they expect in return? It's pathetic, but it's true.
It's not pathetic. It's a conditioned response. You learn that love is a debt you'll have to repay.
So I push people away, or I keep them at a distance where I am always the giver and they are the receiver. It's the only way I feel safe.
You feel safe in the role of the giver, but you can't receive.
I can't, and I struggle to rest. I feel intensely guilty if I'm not working. My vacations are just spreadsheets of activities, because productivity is the only way I've ever felt worthy.
Because if you stop being useful, what are you?
I don't know. The thought is terrifying. I confuse exhaustion with success.
You might even feel numb during happy moments.
Yes. How did you? Yes. Joy feels unfamiliar, unearned, even dangerous, like it's a trick and something terrible is about to happen to balance it out.
Because stillness feels wrong. Peace feels suspicious.
Exactly. Stillness it's the most anxious feeling in the world. I never realized I'm still stuck in survival mode, aren't I?
You are. Because when dysfunction is normalized early in life, your nervous system accepts chaos as its baseline. Calm is the anomaly.
And worst of all, I didn't even realize it. I thought this was just adulthood.
This is the psychology of a child forced to grow up too fast. It's not just sadness. It's not a bad childhood, in the simple sense. It's a complex trauma, and it reshapes how you view the world, and more importantly, how you view yourself.
But why? You said it's a strategy, but why would any child willingly take on that role?
Because the choice is never conscious. It's biological. You have to understand this. Children will do anything for attachment, even abandon themselves. The child's primary drive is to belong, to be connected to their caregiver.
It's survival.
It's pure survival. In the absence of safety, the child sacrifices authenticity for belonging. That's not weakness. That's intelligence. That's instinct. But here's the tragedy.
What saved you then?
Imprisons you now. So many of us are walking around as high-functioning, successful adults. But with deeply neglected inner children pulling all the strings, we overachieve to earn love. We stay silent to avoid abandonment.
We take care of everyone, but secretly wish someone would just ask if we're okay.
And that right there, that is the fantasy, isn't it? The fantasy that someone will notice you're not as strong as you pretend to be.
A fantasy? Yes, I have that. I dream about it, just getting sick, so I have an excuse to rest.
The fantasy that maybe, just maybe, you'll finally get to fall apart and be held.
That's the unmet need, isn't it?
It is. But it is the unmet need, not of your adult self, but of the child who never got to be a child.
So, what do I do with that? How do you heal that?
This is the most important part. The first step to healing isn't fixing, it's witnessing.
Witnessing?
Just seeing it clearly. Because until you validate what happened, you will keep gaslighting yourself. You'll keep using the thoughts the world gave you.
It wasn't that bad.
Other people had it worse.
I turned out fine.
But fine is a mask too. And deep down, you know it.
I do.
So, what happens to that child when they grow up? They become adults who never feel safe, even in calm rooms. They become lovers who can't trust softness. They become givers who can't receive.
They become the kind of people who apologize for crying, who flinch at compliments,
and who confuse exhaustion with success. That is the cost of growing up too fast. Because if your childhood trained you to be strong at the expense of being soft, to be quiet instead of honest, to fix other while ignoring your own fractures, then what kind of adulthood do you inherit?
You inherit a life where you're always holding your breath, waiting for someone to give you permission to finally fall apart.
But here's the truth, Alex. The hard, powerful truth. No one is coming to rescue the child you buried.
That's a cold truth.
It is, but it's also a powerful one, because it gives the agency back to you. No one is coming, because you are the one who must go back and hold their hand. You are the adult that child needed.
I am the one.
You are the one who must say what no one else ever said. This is the beginning of shadow work. Not fixing, not performing, not bypassing the pain with fake positivity. It is turning toward the abandoned parts of yourself and saying, I see you now, I hear you now, and I'm not leaving.
That sounds brutal.
That is the repairing process. And it is brutal. It's not a weekend retreat. It's the real work, because it asks you to feel the grief you never had time to feel. It asks you to sit with the rage, the sorrow, the unmet needs.
I don't even know if I can access that rage. I'm not an angry person.
Aren't you? Or were you just never allowed to be? Shadow work asks you to weep for the birthdays where no one showed up, to mourn the innocence you lost, while you were busy protecting people who should have been protecting you.
I don't want to feel that. It feels destructive.
But that grief, it's not weakness. It is proof that you're healing, because what was once frozen inside you is finally falling.
What does that look like? In real life?
It looks like recognizing the patterns. Let's talk about how this survival pattern shows up in your adulthood. Subtly, tragically, invisibly. You became the therapist in all your friendships, but you never let anyone truly see you.
Yes. 100%. I'm praised for my independence. But deep down, I am terrified of being a burden. That is my core fear. Being a burden.
So you find yourself in relationships where you overfunction. You're always the one fixing, managing, over-explaining. And then you wonder why you feel so resentful.
And boundaries. I struggle with boundaries. Saying no. It still feels like betrayal. It feels like I'm being selfish or cruel.
You must remember this. These are not your personality traits. Being a people pleaser is not who you are. They are coping strategies. They are learned. They are conditioned. And the good news is, they are unlearnable.
How? Where do I even begin to unlearn something so deep?
You begin when you stop idolizing your strength and start honoring your wounds.
Stop idolizing my strength.
The strength that kept you from breaking. It's time to thank it for its service and let it rest. One of the most powerful, practical things you can do is to ask your inner child right now, what did I need back then that I never got?
What did I need?
And you just listen. You may hear answers like, I needed someone to tell me it wasn't my fault.
Yes.
I needed someone to ask how I was doing.
Yes.
I needed to play, to rest, to laugh, without fear.
I needed to play. I never played. I was too busy managing.
And so, slowly, very slowly, you begin to give those things to yourself. You, the adult, give them to the child inside. You schedule play. You enforce rest. You tell yourself, this is not your fault. You do this, not to fix your past, because you can't. You do it to stop reliving it.
To stop reliving it.
This is how you stop seeking parents in your partners. This is how you stop mistaking anxiety for intuition. This is how you stop running from the child you were and start becoming the self you are.
It feels like a long road.
It is. Carl Jung once said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul.
And this is facing your own soul.
It is. Shadow work demands that we face it. All of it. The neglected, the ashamed, the scared, the angry. Because healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be.
Before the click.
Before the click. So, if you are someone who grew up too fast, know this. Your maturity was never the problem.
The problem was that I had no choice.
Exactly. The problem was that you had no choice. But now, you do. You can choose softness. You can choose to rest.
I can choose to stop managing everyone else's emotions.
And start honoring your own. And know it will not happen overnight. There will be days you fall back. There will be days you feel like a child again.
Is that okay? Is that failure?
Good. That's the point. That's not failure. That's integration. Let that child come home. Let them cry. Let them play. Let them finally be seen. Because you're not broken. You're becoming whole.
Becoming whole.
And maybe, for the first time, you're finally growing up the right way. Not through pressure, not through fear, but through truth. You never had a childhood, but you still have a future. And this time, you get to write it.